Well, hello, friends. Mike Falkenstein here with 1-8 Catalyst, and this is the latest episode of Building on the Foundation. In front of me, I have three different Bibles that have meant a lot to me over the years. This is the King James Version, better known as the KJV, that I received from a great aunt and great uncle when I was about a year old. It always stayed in my childhood bedroom, even though I grew up in a non-Christian home. And it's the Bible that I started reading in junior high school as I started to get curious about what the Bible had to say. This here is the New International Version, known as the NIV Bible I bought for myself once I accepted Christ as a senior in high school. And as a study Bible, God used it in my early growth as a new believer. And this is my daily reading Bible today, the classic reference version of the English Standard Version, referred to as the ESV Bible, that I now use for daily reading and teaching in my ministry. And here's what I know about each of these Bibles. They are all great versions of the Bible that God has used at different stages in my life. So in this episode, I'm going to talk to those who believe that only the King James Bible is the only God-inspired and authorized version for English-speaking people. This is a common belief among certain Christians who believe that the KJV is the only God-authorized version for English-speaking people, and that all other English translations which were produced after the KJV are corrupt. So before I get into this topic, please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive new content from us, and hit the notifications bell so that you know when new videos are released. To understand this topic, the conversation really starts with original languages. The Bible's Old Testament was written mostly originally in Hebrew with small portions in Aramaic, and the New Testament was written in Greek. It's this issue of the original Greek manuscripts that is the crux of the issue here. KJV only advocates make a big deal out of the Greek manuscript a Bible is translated from. In this case, they advocate for the Greek manuscript, often referred to as the Textus Receptus, which was a compilation of Greek manuscripts available at the time the translators gathered to create the KJV. Among these manuscripts were Desiderius Erasmus's work that started in 1516, Stephanus's works, primarily his 1550 edition, and Theodore Beza's editions were available to the King James translators while they labored between 1604 and 1611. The translation methods that the KJV translators used was often called eclectic, as they wanted no single manuscript from any of these men to be elevated to the status of the standard, but that each manuscript contained scribal errors of various kinds, and that the true and original text was best sought in the plurality of texts. The result of this work these translators did, was an excellent and complete English version of the Bible, and certainly an improvement from earlier English translations. Over the following 200 years or so, really two things happened. One, the King James Version served as a wonderful English translation for English speakers, and two, earlier Greek manuscripts of the New Testament were discovered and were found to be even more accurate than previous versions. These manuscripts are often referred to as the Alexandrian manuscripts, and KJV only folks will often call these manuscripts corrupted. But amongst serious Greek New Testament scholars, these manuscripts have been found to be accurate and trustworthy for translation. So part of the reason then that we can trust that modern English translations of the Bible are also accurate goes to the principles of Bible translation generally. As later English translations were produced, the translators could take the Textus Receptus and the Alexandrian Greek manuscripts, in addition to the King James Bible and other English translations, to form a translation of the Bible that excelled at accuracy. As an example, in the preface of my ESV, it states that the ESV stands in the classic mainstream of Bible translation over the past half millennium. The fountainhead of that stream was William Tyndale's New Testament of 1526, Marking its course was the KJV of 1611, the English Revised Version of 1885, the American Standard Version of 1901, and the Revised Standard Version of both 1952 and 1971. In that stream, faithfulness to the text and rigorous pursuit of precision was combined with simplicity, beauty, and dignity of expression. Our goal, they state, has been to carry forward this legacy for this generation and for generations to come. And I really think that goal has been completed in all of our modern English translations. So, as I've been doing research for this video, I've been surprised at the lengths that those in the King James only crowd go to prove their point that the King James Bible is the only God authorized version of the Bible. They use things like numerology, false claims about certain Greek manuscripts being corrupt, and other issues that are easily researchable doing a simple web search. Their position causes confusion amongst many Christians and brings up a number of questions that I don't hear, quite frankly, a lot of good answers to. So, for example, many of the King James only state that the year 1611 version of the King James Bible, again, is the only God-authorized version for all English-speaking people. Overwhelmingly, though, there are not many 1611 versions of the King James Bible available today. Those reading the King James version are reading the 1769 KJV Bible, and when we compare the two translations, there are hundreds of changes between the 1611 and the 1769 versions of the Bible, which actually is a good thing for English speakers today, given the very archaic nature of 1611 1600s English, which largely could not be read today. Many of the King James onlyists will also state that the KJV Bible is the only way for anyone around the world to know of Jesus and his salvation. But if the King James is the only acceptable version of the Bible, then what did people do before 1611 to obtain salvation? You know, I also wonder about languages around the world, some of which do not yet have a Bible translated. Is there a God-authorized version for each language? And when a new translation is complete in a language that did not have the Bible, how would we know if it's God authorized or not? As I end this video, let's summarize about what we know about English Bible translations. We know that whatever Bible translation we have, whether NIV, NASB, ESV, and yes, even the KJV, we have God's word available to us for reading, for study, preaching, and teaching. And I must state here that the KJV is still a good version if you like reading it. You know, people have asked me throughout the years which Bible they should read. And my answer always is, hey, whatever version gets you reading the Bible. The important thing here is to be in God's word regularly. Interestingly, I recently read that in 2013, Gideon's International, a ministry that many of us are familiar with, the ministry that distributes free Bibles to locations including hotels, motels, hospitals, medical offices, prisons, and jails, announced that it would be transitioning its modern English version for distribution from the KJV to the English Standard Version. This change now makes the English Standard, the ESV, one of the most widely distributed English versions in the world today. From everything that I know about Gideon's ministry, they know Bibles, and if they can trust a modern translation like the ESV, we can too. So, thank you for watching this video. To learn more about us, go to 18catalyst.org, and to make a tax-deductible contribution, click on the Give button on our website. I appreciate you all, and I'll look forward to having you with me on the next episode of Building on the Foundation. Bye for now.